Okay, we're going to be looking at a sample problem before you go on to some practice share and show on your own. So for our first part of our sample problem, we're going to be looking at our tenths. If we just come down real quickly and look at a small portion of our place value chart, you will see that we have a ones place. Our ones place represents a whole number. To the right of your whole number or your ones place will always be a decimal point. And then as you move to the right, each time you become the tenths, the hundredths, the thousandths, and so forth. So for our first part of the problem, we're going to be writing 5/10 as a fraction and a decimal. So I want to come down here and look at my model. My model is one whole, and I'm going to look to see how much of my whole gets covered for 5/10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I do not have the whole covered. So when I come over here to my place value, I'm not showing one whole shaded. So I have 0 wholes shaded, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5/10 or tenths, and then I can show it as a decimal point. 5/10. If I want to write that as a fraction, I would have 5 as my numerator out of 10 for my denominator because my whole is divided into 10 equal parts and 5 of them are shaded, so 5/10 are shaded. If I come down here and look on the bottom, I'm going to be looking at my hundredths, and I want to shade the model to show 31 hundredths, and I'm going to write that as a decimal. So I already have it in fraction form. I'm going to convert it into a decimal form. I have my place value chart down below, which is my ones, my whole number. To the right of that is my decimal point, and then I'm showing tenths and hundredths. So if I take my whole model down here, this is one whole, and inside of my whole, I have 100 equal pieces, or it's divided into hundredths. That's why my denominator is 100, because inside my whole has 100. So if I shade 31 of those hundredths, it would look like this. So when I come over to my place value, I do not have any ones because the whole is not shaded. So I have 0 ones again. Now, if I move into my tenths place, I do have 1, 2, 3/10 shaded because I have 3 whole columns of 10 cubes in a whole column shaded. So I have a tenths, 1/10, 2/10, 3/10. And then I have 1 cube down here shaded. That's my hundredths. So if I write 31 hundredths as a decimal, it will look like this, 31 hundredths. So you're going to be going on your own. You're going to have some models to look at, and for your models, you're going to want to show that model in a fraction and then in a decimal.